Niam was, let's see, at 18 weeks, they usually do a check with babies, right? Where they do, they'll do a scan of mom's belly, and they'll look just to make sure everything's kind of going according to plan, right? Or everything's well. And during that scan, they noticed that something was going on with Niam's spine. And so they kind of, they took, kind of had other doctors look at it, and kind of it took a lot of extra time than I thought it was going to just do the kind of 30-minute scan. And so that was kind of when we realized that that he had something going on. And then it was kind of a journey from there of, kind of a true diagnosis of, how significant the damage to his spine was, and, what the kind of options were to help him through that. So yeah, it was 18 weeks. When he was 18 weeks old in the womb was when he was diagnosed. Yeah, so over the next few weeks, we kind of researched different things that that we could do to help him. And one of those options was a surgery where there's only, I think at the time, 3 hospitals that would do that surgery. And so we decided on San Francisco because they had done a lot of the trials when the surgery was in the trial phase. And so we decided to go to San Francisco. So we flew to San Francisco, and they did a lot of diagnostics and a lot of different tests just to see if we were good candidates for it. And we were. And so when he was 24 weeks, they opened up my womb, and they repaired Niam's back, and then they put him back in, and it was a pretty major surgery that they did.
It's they put a piece of amniotic sac over his, like, before they closed up the skin on his back when he was having his in utero surgery. They put a piece of amniotic sac over his spine to allow the skin of his back to slip more easily over it, because sometimes the skin can bind from, like, if you think about scar tissue, like how it builds up. And so they were afraid he gets some scar tissue and it can cause a tether cord, right, where the cord binds to the skin, and then they have to go back in when he's older and, like, surgically separate that. But they put this amniotic sac there. They're hoping it creates, like, this slippery surface for the rest of his life, and that he won't have to have that surgery. So, I mean, it's pretty innovative stuff. Yeah, 10 kids went through the study, and he's one of them. And we're not going to know for, I don't know, several more years, right, like how well it worked. But yeah, it's they've got some really interesting ways to treat it now and try to help.
Like any kind of massive scarring, they find that it's really unstable, like, to transport distances and stuff. But for him, because it was in utero, when they cut into my uterus, they just took a piece of that, and so basically he essentially created that, and so there's very little chance of rejection of, for his body to reject it. It's part of it's just part of his DNA. And so they're trying it, they use it for eye surgeries. If you think about, like, replacing I'm not an expert on eye surgeries, but and it helps, I guess. It's with the healing process, it's extremely healing. It'll help, kind of recover some of the area. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. They do it in a larger OR just to accommodate all the people that are needed, and there's a team dedicated to baby and a team dedicated to mom, and they do, I think there was 30 people in the room at the time of the surgery, and I think there was, I want to say it was 4 or 5 anesthesiologists and quite a few specialists that have to be there for it. But yeah, they do. It's a pretty significant surgery, and the whole surgery goes about an hour and a half because they can't have the baby exposed for that long, and so they have to have everyone right there and ready to do everything that they need to do. But yeah, they repaired his back, put him back in, and sort of the theory behind the surgery is that they would do the repair in the womb and then put him back in, and then as he grows, hopefully some of the repair happens kind of as he's growing and developing in the womb. And so and in our view, it really helped him a lot. It was pretty significant, the difference it made for him. And so then at 36 weeks they did a C-section, and he was born at 36 weeks. He was born early because of the surgery. They didn't want him to grow too large because it would be too much there was too much of a risk for me at that point that he would that there would be an issue at birth, and so they had delivered him early at 36 weeks. They had kind of warned us that he would require probably up to a month in the NICU, the neonatal intensive care unit, right? That he would need probably 4 to 5 weeks there just for them to assess him and for to do all of the just to kind of monitor him. And after 5 hours, they called me and said, he looks amazing. We'd love to bring him to your room. And so he did. He did really well. Yeah, he didn't require very much time in the NICU at all. I guess part of his condition is, any kind of damage to the spine. It's a nerve issue, right? So the nerves that kind of connect through his legs aren't as strong and able to support his muscles, and so it was kind of a lot of wait and see with him to see kind of how things would go. But very encouraging when he was just a little baby. He was able to kind of move his legs and wiggle his toes, and that was all really good stuff. And so we just kind of had to wait and see how he met his milestones and kind of see what he'd need from there. And so he did really well. He was able to crawl and do all of the things that babies do. When it came time to walk, we noticed that his ankles are a little bit weaker, and so at that point we started looking into bracing and doing some bracing for his ankles and feet. His diagnosis was that that we were to expect possible brain damage, that mobility issues with walking, and that there were quite a few things that went along with his diagnosis. And the amazing thing about him is that he hasn't had a lot of the brain issues that can be associated with spina bifida. So his kind of challenges have been more limited to mobility and some of those things. But he gets physical therapy regularly, and he's doing really very well. He's a pretty cool kid. He's funny. He's bright. He's kind of a joyful little kid no matter where he is. He's engaging, just loves people and loves having a good time and loves, baking and music and running around, and so I don't know. He's just he's been a pretty fun addition to our family. So yeah, we love him.
My name's Annette, and I have an in-home daycare. And first I had his bigger brother Asher, and then Pam got pregnant with Niam, and after she had Niam and she went back to work, I started taking care of Niam. And this is my husband, Bill.
Hello. And I help sometimes with the kids.
All the kids love him. I also wear braces on my legs. I have Charcot-Marie tooth disease. It's a degenerative nerve disease. It's a rare disease, but it's 1 in 25,000, so it's more common than you think. And it's a progressive disease where I could walk when I was young, I could run when I was young, but as I get older, I lose muscle, ability for my muscles to work. So both Niam and I wear braces. We both have challenges, but life is full of challenges. Being someone with physical challenges, also similar to Niam's, where all of my muscles are not firing, I know how much energy it takes day to day to walk and to move, and just to do the basic things like walking to the mailbox or walking to the backyard. So I understand, Niam's, the amount of energy that he uses just to do the stuff the other kids are doing. And with that in mind, I really appreciate what he does because I know how hard he works at everything. Niam is an awesome dude, and as far as challenges go on that line, I think God gives people who have challenges an extra bit of tenacity and drive, and I see that in Niam. He's always trying. If he falls down, he gets back up, and not only does he try again, but he goes back to where he started and tries to walk the whole distance. I've always known he was going to walk. He started walking a few months ago, and he is awesome. All the kids love him. We love him. He's a super compassionate, loving human being with a lot to give this world.
Yeah, Niam's really an interesting human being just because he has the disability that he can't interact with the kids as fast. So he has to, sometimes when he was younger, he'd have to sit off on his own, which was tough. So then as far as being a daycare, you'd have opportunities to be one-on-one with him a little bit more. And you notice that the guy really loves stories, loves to be read to, loves to be held. But through the whole process, the guy decided he didn't want to be held as much anymore. He wanted to do things on his own. He gets excited when he sees kids he knows really well, like Avila, Monica, Augustine. Those are kind of like family for him, and he just enjoys being part of their life. His parents are really good to him and care about him, and so is their grandparents. They cherish him, and so does their church family. So he has a lot of support around him. He encourages them, and we're just a small part of it.
Niam knows he has challenges that the other kids don't have to deal with, but the other kids don't look at him like he can't participate. They just treat him just like they would any other kid. And he is an awesome, awesome part of this daycare, and we love him so much. And everybody loves Niam. The neighbors love him. He's always talking to everybody. The kids love him. He's super creative and play and Legos and cars. So yeah, we love Niam, and we know that he is going to be awesome in life.
I think Niam is a really amazing kid, and that his story needs to be told because, like Miss Annette and pretty much everybody said about him, has some challenges, but he's amazing at overcoming them, and he just he just brings joy to everyone. Niam has spinal bifida. I think his nerves don't work as well, and so his legs don't work as well because there's something wrong with his spine. I hope that this just inspires people to not give up on others who have disabilities such as this. Like a lot of people these days, if their child is diagnosed with spina bifida or any disabled or any challenges like that, sometimes they abort children with those type of challenges. But Niam, he's amazing. He's overcoming all of his challenges, and I can't imagine what it would be like without him. And there are people that it's horrible that some people are aborted because they have challenges, and just think what would the world be if they weren't, They could be really important people, like the president. Maybe someone was aborted and they were going to be the president someday. Or world peace, someone that finds world peace or something like that. Cure to cancer. Maybe the person that was going to find the cure to cancer was aborted. People like that. Just And even if they like don't make like a big difference in the world, they definitely make a difference to someone, you know? Whether it be like their parents or a friend or, you know, something like that. So that's pretty much what this documentary is about, just to like make it known to people that people with challenges, they have a chance.
I want to be a lion. The Greatest Showman.
Why do you love that song so much?
Because I watch The Greatest Showman. It fills me up and it makes me good. And then I sing This Is Me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you want to sing it now or no?
No. We like to play together and sit in our chairs that we got for this Christmas. It's just, I really love him because he's the best brother.
I'm not scared to